Okay, this is how I would have done Friday the 13th. We begin in the 1970s, where Pamela Voorhees, now free from a very abusive relationship, takes a job as camp cook at Camp Crystal Lake. Having been reassured by the headmaster that Jason would be looked after and loved as any of the other child. Now, mind you, under the headmaster, or I don't know, like head counselor, are two other counselors. And at first you think they're going to be really loving and cool, but you see the signs that they're actually incredibly neglectful when they pawn Jason off to another camper. Essentially doing a buddy system, and any kid that had any sort of disabilities or was the default buddy for the troubled kids knows what I mean. The gender of the buddy doesn't matter, so like, put what you want. But essentially the buddy at first is like, I don't want to have to look after this new weird kid, and then slowly over time realizes that Jason is a kid like everybody else. He just looks a little different, and they end up becoming really good friends. I have it explicitly stated that even though Jason is young, he is incredibly handy and really good with the outdoors due to the fact that he was heavily isolated by his abusive father, and one of the reasons he's delayed in terms of education is because he wasn't permitted to go to school. Now, of course, the kids are going to be assholes to Jason because he looks different. But I'd have it be that what they do isn't like actively evil. It's just, kids are assholes. And of course, the inciting incident is when they drive Jason to jump into the lake. I'd have it that after a moment, all the kids start to freak out and panic and begin to look for an adult. However, the head counselor is in his office, Pamela is in the cafeteria, and the other two counselors that were supposed to be watching the kids are doing hanky-panky. I'd have it that Jason's buddy goes directly to Pamela, who in turn goes directly to the lake and jumps in trying to find her son. However, I'd also have a shot that when all the children were gone, it's revealed that Jason was able to get out of the lake and run into the woods because he was terrified. I'd have it that Pamela is in absolute hysterics, and when she sees the two counselors pretty much in a state of undress because the kids caught them and they were like, oh shit, like a kid's dying, that she flips out and murders them both in front of everybody. Pamela, of course, is taken away and incarcerated, still ranting and raving about Jason, and I'd have her actually see Jason on the bank of the lake, but he runs back into the woods before anyone else catches sight of him. She's, of course, incarcerated, and I'd have it that Jason's buddy resolves to come back when they are older to create a camp that is specifically for kids with disabilities and or physical deformities. I'd of course have it that Jason, being resourceful, is able to survive on the campsite and no one really goes there anymore because it was a crime scene. I'd have it that the courts took a lot of pity on Pamela, so she got a really short sentence, and about 10 years later, she goes back to the camp and sees a fully alive Jason. However, also returning to the camp is Jason's buddy, and that is where the plot thickens. I'd have it that when Pamela gets to Camp Crystal Lake and finds a very much alive Jason, her brain essentially breaks. Once again, she's in hysterics because she was told over and over again how the police department looked up and down and everywhere to make sure he was alive, only to find out that they actively lied about searching for Jason because they couldn't believe that someone with his deformity would be able to, survive. I'd have it that Pamela's rage spreads out through the entirety of the town, not just isolated to the camp. She wants the blood of the headmaster, she wants the blood of the police department, and she wants the blood of everyone in town that doubted Jason was alive and didn't help search for him. She kind of indoctrinates Jason into helping her with this revenge plot. Him just, going along with it because that's his fucking mom. However, I'd have things kind of change when Jason's buddy shows up. And, their mission statement is to create a camp for people with physical and mental disabilities. I'd also have it that the people with them were other children who were affected by Jason's drowning, and all of them deciding to renovate the camp together. So Jason and Pamela are on their little revenge plot, but I'd also have it that Pamela decides, hey, I'm going to need to do this solo, you go back to the camp, and that is where Jason finds his old buddy as well as other kids that he knew. His buddy is incredibly excited, and after proving that they're Jason's real buddy, because I'd have them have like a little handshake because that's cute, Jason and his buddy rekindle their friendship. However, the other adults there are freaked out by Jason. Essentially him living in the woods and everything. Boy is stacked and they're like, he's a threat. I'd have it that when Pamela gets back to camp, she sees Jason and his old buddy playing together and kind of gets a little hope for humanity. The buddy explaining how they want to make the camp better and make the town better, and Pamela saying she'll help them. However, later, she finds two people who are going to be counselors at this camp having sex and neglecting their duties. To which Pamela is like, oh, History is just going to repeat itself again, but this time you're going to have a whole camp full of Jasons. Her deciding to not let that happen, and she begins killing them. I really want a shot of Jason's buddy catching Pamela killing somebody, running off to the police department, and finding them all slaughtered. The climax would, of course, be Jason's old buddy versus Pamela. I'd have them both fighting on the dock of the lake, which was severely neglected and is falling apart under their feet. I'd have it that Pamela was about to land a killing blow when Jason stopped her, and the weight of all three of them makes all three fall into the lake. I'd have it end with Jason's buddy in a hospital bed, asking where Pamela and Jason were, and being told that their bodies were not found. The final line mirroring the actual end of the first movie with "they're still out there."